Hi everyone, thanks for joining this talk today on learnings from remote co-design. My name's Rachel Kelly. I'm a UX UI designer at Symbiote. Symbiote is a software engineering company. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, and we deliver web and app-based solutions for clients such as the Department of Transport Victoria. We use co-design as part of our delivery, and we've been working remotely since March this year, and we'll continue to do so for the foreseeable future. Today, I'll be sharing my top 5 learnings from co-design remotely, and I've also included these findings in a blog piece on the Symbiote website, so there's no need to take notes. Simply sit back, relax, and enjoy. So what is co-design? Co-design sessions are workshops that bring together subject matter experts to co-create products or service solutions. Essentially, everyone is a designer in a co-design workshop, and they're invited to contribute their ideas to the design process. What are the benefits of running a co-design workshop? So co-design workshops enable participants to feel deeply involved in the creation process, and this leads to better overall project outcomes, as well as smoother approval steps. It can also be an opportunity for you to identify future areas of change management where champions of change or areas where additional support or education might be needed closer to the release date of the product or service that you're designing. So my 5 lessons from remote co-design that I'm sharing today are broad-ranging. However, they're simple enough for you to pick up and try in your next workshop. So my first lesson that I'd like to share is building trust. Don't underestimate the power of a good warm-up activity. One of my biggest learnings from delivering co-design sessions remotely was that unlike offline sessions where there are lots of opportunities to build that rapport and trust with participants, these opportunities are heavily reduced when delivering these sort of workshops online. And it's really important that we ensure that we make the time and the space when building them into the co-design agenda. A quick warm-up exercise that I've been using at the beginning of each session is to ask participants to sketch something they enjoyed about their weekend. This results in the sharing of ideas and also a realization that there are some good things to come from being locked down. I've found this really helpful in building trust both from the facilitator standpoint to participants, but also just within the group itself. It's also a good opportunity for participants to test out the sketching tools that you've selected for the session, which brings me to my second learning, which is selecting the right sketching tools, digital versus paper. Moving co-design sessions online has meant introducing new tools which can add complexity. However, I have realised as part of this process that we still have a choice. Sketching digitally, we have been using Mural as our preferred platform. It is easy for participants to join. It's really lightweight and it requires no downloading or sign-in process. So you can actually add it to your calendar. You can add the Mural link to your calendar invite. It's also really easy to download artifacts at the end of the session in a variety of different file formats. Using a hybrid approach to co-design is something that I've learned over the past 6 months. And that is where you ask participants to bring pen and paper with them to the session, and you outline the process. That is that you'll be sketching onto the paper, so offline, but participants are asked to take a photo of that sketch and using their mobile and AirDrop, transfer that onto their desktop and actually upload that file to a Mural artboard that's been pre-prepared. I've found that while this process sounds slightly complex, that I have seen a much richer level of sketching when it's pen to paper. I do find that when sketching online, users and participants often are quick to find that backspace or erase button. And so there's a certain level of detail that I think is missing on occasion from some online sketching programs. It pays to think about your outputs and what you're trying to achieve in this co-design session when making those decisions around what tools to use. The lesson number 3 is that videos need to be on. This helps pick up on those non-verbal cues. So presenting or facilitating to a screen of icons can be daunting, as eye contact and body language are signs of engagement, and as well as they help to build rapport. So the lessons I learned here was not to assume that participants' default setting is to have their video and their audio on for the duration of the workshop. I've found that it's really important to explicitly communicate the need for this at the beginning of a co-design session. If internet connectivity is a problem with everyone's videos being on, a couple of solutions here are to ask participants to tether from their mobile. That can be quite a quick solution. The second is to say turn your videos off for the sketching, but it's imperative that the videos remain on for the discussion. This really helps the facilitator read the room. Lesson number 4 is silence is golden. Refrain from filling in those awkward silences. It's not uncommon for the best insights in co-design sessions to come during those in-between moments of discussion. The same can be said for an online setting. So however tempting it is to fill in those awkward silences, just let them play out. I've found that requesting audio to remain on for the duration of the workshop has really helped amplify voices in the remote-based co-design sessions, as I feel it allows those silences to emerge more organically, and it also removes that barrier of the participant having to unmute themselves before sharing an idea. The 5th and final lesson I'd like to share today is that retros are a good activity to get the idea juices flowing. So I like to use the keep, start, stop retro method, which is well suited to virtual events, as it gives participants another opportunity to familiarize themselves with the tools, but also, gets their head buzzing with lots of possible solutions to take into the sketching phase. So retros are a popular method used in the tech industry, especially when it's an agile environment, because it's really important for agile teams to know what is and isn't working in order to improve. So within the co-design space, participants are asked to think of how the product or service is currently working, and under 3 post-it note headings, keep, start, stop, participants are asked to think about what they'd like to keep about that product or service, what they'd like to start including or start making available within that product or service, and also what they would like to for that product or service to stop doing. So participants type into, the post-it notes, which in Mural's a really easy tool, and lots of ideas go up on the wall, which then the facilitator will talk to one at a time. And I find this is a great activity to get lots of dialogue happening, and that dialogue and those ideas are then taken in to the other sketching sessions by the participants. And I feel it's a really great springboard for success. So thanks everybody for joining me for today's talk. Like I said, feel free to check out the blog post on the symbiote.com.au website, where I've included a few extra learnings in there as well. Alternatively, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. You can find me at Rachel T. Kelly. Thanks again and stay safe. Take care.